slightly rainy episode of Elliott's Overcomplicated. Your host, Elliott Maxwell. Elliott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Seth, on this wonderful, overcast, gloomy, rainy Wednesday afternoon. And I'm just so ready to get 29 started.
Episode 29. It's crazy. We're coming up right around 9 months of this podcast. 29 episodes.
God, that's literally insane.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
9 months ago, we started this pod.
Yeah. It's insane. And look at what it's become. Pretty cool.
Yes.
All right. What should we do?
Get the wheel spin the wheel for our first topic of today.
All right. Here we go. Looks like it's going to roll to
10-minute drill.
Minute drill.
The news segment.
The news. It's time for the news. All right. What do we have up first here?
Diego Pavia accepts Ravens main camp invite after going undrafted in the 2026 NFL draft.
Yeah, so Elliott, how much have you heard about this whole Diego Pavia story?
Yeah, originally it was like he should have picked the Broncos if we missed out on him.
Well, I was kind of talking more like, what do you know about like his story and why he like didn't get drafted and like all of that. Pretty much to catch all of you guys up, Diego Pavia was the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy this last college football year. You know, obviously Fernando Mendoza ended up getting it, and on the night that they announced who the Heisman winner would be, he posted on social media like F all the voters, and it was a whole thing. And basically all of that resulted in him being only the second ever, or the only runner-up to the Heisman Trophy that didn't get drafted since 2014. So it's been quite a while since a Heisman runner-up didn't get drafted. And then, yeah, he got accepted to the Ravens minicamp. And actually another update in this is he got signed, but not until after that prototypical rush where all the teams signed a bunch of free agents right after the draft. Pretty interesting story, right?
Yes.
What do you think about it? Do you think he's an NFL caliber quarterback?
Probably,
maybe.
because he'll be beyond and there and Arizona might be thinking train their court, or I read something that that the Cardinals might be training Brissett or something else. Like I've read some.
Oh, interesting.
It was I literally just saw a news headline or something that said
yeah, he's expected to be traded. Despite being the starter, Brissett is skipping voluntary off-season workouts and demanding an extension, which the Cardinals seem to not want to give him right now.
and then they drafted Carson Beck.
Carson Beck and Gardner Minshew would be the quarterback right there.
That would be surprise. That would be a a change of
It'd be a big change of pace.
and they would see two quarterbacks moved out because of the Vikings saying.
Yep.
And then if Brissett moves before the trade deadline, then that's just going to be interesting to see the Cardinals changing the quarterback room.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I think the Cardinals are obviously in a rebuilding year. I really don't think they have a lot going on for this season, so might as well trade him away. He's not like a true franchise guy anyways.
Giants head coach John Harbaugh isn't too worried about Malik Neighbors' draft comments.
Yeah. So to catch you guys up on this headline, during the draft, Malik Neighbors was on like a podcast or show with Mike Parsons and I forget, there's just like some host. But after the first two Giants draft picks, he showed some, I guess you could call it concern about the picks that the Giants made. After they drafted Arvell Reese, he said something along the lines of, like, where are we going to play him? Where are we going to use him? And then after they drafted Mauigoa with the 10 slot, an offensive lineman, he said that he would rather play with Caleb Downs, who was kind of the top safety prospect in this draft, than he would against him. But John Harbaugh came out and said that Malik Neighbors, came into the facility the next day and they talked about it, and he was genuinely curious. And when he heard, he was just as excited as the rest of the team. So, yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think it's anything that Giants fans should be worried about?
No, the Giants fans shouldn't even worry because sometimes you get those players that just say like bad stuff about comments that are like really bad, and then sometimes you have to have like the positive comments.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't even think they were like super bad. It wasn't like, Neighbors is like, I hate this guy. He was just kind of like, where are we going to play him? What are we going to use this guy for? So I think it's a pretty big non-issue.
Yeah. And then next up, Eagles international player pathway participant, Laura Bernard, details dreams come true. And then
this is second headline. Got crunched up a little.
After being drafted so I think it's like the first African player to be drafted in the NFL.
Out of the international player program. Let's see. Yeah, first African player. So that's pretty cool. 251st overall. But yeah, he was drafted without having played a single organized game of American football. I think that's interesting. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Todd Bowles threw it to add Ruben Bain to Buccaneers defense. He can do it all.
Yeah, I feel like the Buccaneers really got a steal with Ruben Bain, and what did he fall to? He fell down, I want to say, like the 13th pick of the draft or something. I don't remember exactly where they picked. Not the 13th, because that was the Rams. I don't remember exactly where he fell to, but they got him for a pretty penny, to say the least. They got him for real cheap compared to what he is.
Yeah, and then the Avalanche sweep the LA Kings to move on in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, what do you think about that? You think they have a shot at the cup?
Yeah. Boost their confidence on sweeping the Kings. Sweeping the Kings off. Kings. And then there was another. And then there was like news articles out on the Vancouver Whitecaps eventually. Like if they don't find a group of people, or like they might end up moving to Las Vegas.
Moving to Las Vegas. Whoa. Which team?
Vancouver Whitecaps. If nobody wants to own, if
that's an MLS team. Okay, I thought we were still on hockey, and I was confused. I was like, what? That makes more sense.
If none of the ownership groups want to come forward from Canada, they might end up shipping the Whitecaps to to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that makes sense. Las Vegas has been loving getting on sports teams recently.
NFL, NHL, NBA.
Who's their NBA team?
They're also in the WNBA for.
So it doesn't seem they don't have an NBA team yet.
Yeah, but they will if they if they are prime expansion. It's like
they're
expansion.
Prime expansion territory. They do have a WNBA team. No NBA team yet.
But
the next few years, so they might expand to there.
And they've got the A's on the way. They've got the A's,
which I think is
it's sad. Like baseball, hockey, hockey's, and basketball.
Yeah.
So it's like basically two B's and
football, the NFL.
Yeah. NFL, NHL, NBA.
Not NBA yet.
Yeah.
NBA maybe by the end of this decade. WNBA for sure. Las Vegas is definitely, it makes sense that they want to market themselves as a
sports mecca
city, yeah.
Trying to be like Denver, where Denver's like trying to be sports, capitalize on sports too.
And I think it's even more important for Las Vegas because all Las Vegas has is all Nevada really has is Las Vegas, on like a grander scale. So it makes sense that they'd want to really invest in the sports teams there.
Yeah, especially because in 3 years, the next Super Bowl is going to be in Las Vegas again.
Okay. That makes sense. I can see it.
Rams shocked the draft, taking Ty Simpson in the first round with pick number 13.
What do you think?
A quarterback very early in the first round?
Yeah. For a team with a franchise guy that's trying to win now, and the quarterback is a huge question mark. What do you think about this pick?
Because Matthew Stafford is getting older,
what would you grade it from like A to F?
B plus.
B plus. I'm a lot lower on it. I'm gonna say D. Why do you think it's a B plus pick?
Because maybe they're thinking like longer term because Matthew Stafford is getting to the end of his time of being the quarterback for the Rams, and they're like thinking like they've got Garoppolo's going to be going into retirement.
Yeah.
And then Matthew Stafford's been with LA Rams for a long time, and he's probably thinking like parent time is coming up, or parent like would you rather be like playing football until you're 45, or saving your body and not having to play football for the rest of your life until you're old?
Yeah. I still have it as a D, and let me talk through why I think so. The Rams are obviously trying to win right now, right? They traded for Trent McDuffie. They're making all of these moves to win now. Like, they're pretty all in for next year's Super Bowl, for the Super Bowl in 2027. And this doesn't feel like a move that's going to support that. And if you really think that Ty Simpson is like the guy and he's really that good, give up future draft picks and trade back into the first round and get him. I don't think it's worth giving up your only first round draft pick when you're trying to win right now. You have your franchise guy, you know? And it just didn't seem like the whole organization was on the same page about that pick. So I don't really like that pick. I still think they're going to be a really great team next year because they already have such a good foundation. But
yeah, but like Matthew Stafford only signed a one year contract for a 1 year.
That's true, but if you really think that, in my opinion, if you really think that Ty Simpson is the guy, take someone to win now, right? I think there was really good edge available. I think there was wide receiver help available. Take somebody who's going to help you win now, and then you can trade back into the first round. You can give up, future first round picks and get the guy that you think is going to be your future, right? If you really think he's your guy, or if not, just wait till next year and trade up next year if you think someone, in that draft is really good. Or trade for a player, trade for like a Joe Burrow who's tired of the team they're in. I just think there was better solutions than what they ended up doing.
Yeah, but it's like questionable, but my best guess is they're probably like think about like what Fernando Mendoza is going through. He might be like, if you're thinking like long term about injuries, like an injury scenario will always come up if like your quarterback goes down with an injury, and then you have like nobody to like basically replace him.
I mean, that's fair.
Like bring him on to like have a quarterback ready to go in case of like injuries. Always happen.
Injuries do always happen, but the first round of the draft isn't where you go and get a backup quarterback, So I just think, like, value-wise, it wasn't a great pick. But we'll see. Only time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see. He might be the third stringer, or he might be putting the backup quarterback, sit for a year, learn from Matthew Stafford, and then see about next year.
Yeah. I will say a really big winner from that is Ty Simpson. He's being put onto one of the best teams with
Sean McVay and
with probably the best coach at developing quarterbacks, and he gets to sit behind the MVP from last year, and I'd say one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
MVP runner up.
Oh yeah, it was Drake. No, I thought it was Matthew Stafford. Was it not? Did Drake May end up winning it?
No, Matthew Stafford did win it.
Yeah,
but Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Gonna be if you're trying to get to winning now, and then end up going end up winning the Lombardi Trophy for a year from 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think they didn't do. I just don't think they invested in the win now mentality that they've been showing. But we'll see. Only time will tell. It'll be interesting to watch how it develops.
Will Aaron Rodgers play for the Steelers in 2026?
I don't know. Do you think he will?
I have no clue because they put a tender on him.
Yeah.
They put a tender on him. Like,
Let's see what the latest news on that is. They placed a UFA tender. What is the UFA tender? It preserves the Steelers' right to receive a compensatory draft pick in the event that Rodgers signs with another team, while also limiting his ability to sign with another team once training camp begins. The Steelers will have exclusive negotiating rights for Rodgers if he does not sign on with another team by July 22nd or the first day of Pittsburgh's training camp, whichever is later. Another condition of the tender is that Rodgers can also accept a 10% raise off of Lester's salary, which would pay him about $15 million this season. Interesting. So the Raiders are saying they're still confident he's going to play.
you mean the Steelers?
The Steelers are still saying they're confident he's going to play. I really don't know. I think he probably will end up playing. I just don't know why he's holding out so long on them. Just an interesting situation to me.
Baltimore Ravens exercising 5th-year option on wide receiver Zay Flowers.
Yeah, a lot of fifth option stuff happening in the league right now, for sure.
Yeah. It's like a lot of 5th-year options that teams are picking up for players. It's like what you find in like MLS players where you have like a team friendly deal, you're sign a rookie for 4 years and then you have like a extra contract, like a extra year on. So it's like a 4-year plus an extra year as like a team friendly thing.
Yeah.
It's like the Broncos signed Bo Nix for a rookie contract and then added the 5th-year option.
Yeah, a lot of people adding those 5th-year options right now.
5th-year pickups this year, which would be like 26, 27 would be like a lot of 5th years. Yeah. And then I wouldn't be surprised if like next year teams decide to like sell or trade their 5th years or their players that they don't want to like, that they are like not invested in, or if they like pick up a player in 27 draft and they don't want to have to like give up and then you can trade your players that sign a 5th year, and then if they request an extension or request extensions or sign extensions and everything. It's like a lot of craziness about if players next year decide to sign even more extensions.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see what happens for sure. A lot of 5th-year extensions being given out right now, though.
Yeah, and then now we're going through the World Cup schedule.
Yeah, just a little bit. We'll just touch on kind of some of the more interesting parts of the schedule. So the United States, the U.S. men's national team, is in Group D for this year. And yeah, let's see who they get to play. Their first match is going to be against Paraguay.
And then Turkey.
And then Turkey, yeah.
And then...
They're not playing, yeah. And Australia. So they're playing against Paraguay.
Turkey twice, Paraguay once.
Well, they're playing Paraguay once in SoFi Stadium. And then they're going and they're playing Australia up in Lumen Field in Seattle. And then they're going back down to SoFi to play against Turkey.
Yeah, it's like they start at SoFi and then they go to Lumen Field and then they go back to SoFi for the game against Turkey.
All right, and then let's see. Argentina is playing against Algeria around the same time. And then Austria and against Jordan. And that's all in the Texas and Kansas City area mostly. No matches in Denver though, unfortunately.
Which is... Yeah, that's their... It's like the 2031 World Cup. I hope Denver gets picked. For the Women's World Cup in the United States, Mexico, Jamaica, Canada, or Jamaica, Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be in Denver because it's like why are you skipping out on Denver when Denver's like literally there's like huge fan base in Denver.
I wonder if it's just the elevation is a part of it. Like hosting up at the
In Powerfield Mount High, or eventually in like the future we'll have a brand new Denver Broncos stadium in 2031.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if any future World Cups happen and if Denver gets picked as one of the host cities.
It'd be cool. It'd be really cool. I think the altitude makes it tough for them.
Yeah, but we all know that we let the Rapids did played against Lionel Messi and Powerfield Mile High 2 weekends ago, and that was just like Lionel Messi got a taste of the altitude.
Believe it.
So hopefully in the future World Cups could like be hosted in Denver.
I hope so. It'd be cool. And then it looks like the finals are at MetLife in New Jersey. This is where the finals are going to be. The actual World Cup match.
Same place as like the FIFA Club World Cup that happened just a year ago.
Yeah. All right. Should we go through the top 10 teams for the World Cup power rankings at the moment?
Yes.
All right, number 10, Morocco. How do you feel about that? What do you think?
Yeah, Morocco is interesting, even though it's like a country that's going to be in the 2030 World Cup
Yeah.
for the 100th edition of the World Cup.
Oh, is that the 100th edition? That's crazy.
That's
really
like
crazy.
celebrating a long time.
A very long time.
And then
Number 9,
Germany.
Predictable. I'm surprised they're not a little higher up with their kind of recent success, but makes sense.
Don't know why Japan's on this list.
What? You don't think Japan is a top 10 team?
Their women's team is 5th in the world on the women's rankings, and Japan's 8th. Or Japan's 8th in the men
Yeah.
for the World Cup.
Makes sense.
Belgium 7th.
Belgium, okay. A 5-2 victory against the USA. Wow. Senegal. Wow. That's pretty cool. What do you think about that?
Great. Portugal in 5th.
Portugal in 5th. The matches against Mexico and the USA were a good test of Portugal's fans' ability to stay awake in the middle of the night. They did beat USA 2-0, and they drew with Mexico. So, they seem alright. They seem decent.
Brazil 4th.
Makes sense. Ooh. Oh, they were overpowered by France. They were beat by France. But they beat Croatia.
Argentina 3rd.
Makes sense. 2-1 win against Argentina.
Spain in 2nd.
Spain in 2nd was cool to me. That's surprising. And then first for this season,
France.
this year,
France.
Makes sense. I'd love to see France win. I really like Mbappe, so I think it would be really cool.
Yeah, but France was like they got close to winning because they got beat by Croatia in 2018.
I think they could win this year. I could see it. Let's see where the United States is. They've been on here. This power ranking is no good. Let's see if they're even on here. Let me know if you see them. Okay. 24th on here. I think that's a little bit low.
Yeah, it's a little bit low. It's like well far back from like being in the top 10.
Quite a bit back from there.
And we're below Mexico.
For good reason. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting World Cup. We'll keep track of those power rankings. All right, and then I think we have a few more fifth-year options to get through.
Cardinals pick up offensive tackle. Paris Johnson Jr.'s 5th-year option.
I think that's pretty solid.
And then former Chargers safety. Another Chargers safety is coming out of retirement. Nasir Adderley coming out of retirement to sign with Colts.
Could be a good move for the Colts. It'll be interesting to see. I honestly don't know where I have the Colts for this season, skill-wise.
And then Falcons picking up running back Bijan Robson's 5th-year option. We did the World Cup power rankings. And then Texans exercising 5th-year options on quarterback CJ Stroud, defensive end Will Anderson Jr.
Makes sense for Will Anderson for sure. I mean, for CJ Stroud as well. I hope CJ Stroud has a better season this upcoming year.
Yeah, but we'll find out soon. In a couple weeks. We'll find out where the Broncos.
Wow.
Where the Broncos are, who we're going to face on what day and what time.
The schedules are going to come out. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah,
Because I really am hoping that we get. I hope we get New England as the opener, the home opener,
You think you will? Be
or
cool.
the away opener.
That'd be pretty cool.
As the opener for the season or at home
You
to
think
somebody.
You think the Broncos would beat them?
I think if Bo Nix is healthy, I would have 100% healthy Bo Nix over a Drake May that's literally wants to. That's like. And I would rather see Bo Nix play great, have a great, and win the football game in order to avenge the loss that we suffered in the AFC game.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I have Drake May for just comparing quarterback to quarterback. I think I like Drake May a little more.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what the schedule is gonna be, and I hope we either find out if it's a home opener or are we gonna be on the road for the opener. On the road for the first game, home for the second, away for the third, home to the fourth.
It'll be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Alright. What should we do next?
Spin the wheel for the next topic.
Let's do it. Alright.
Draft recap.
Time for a quick draft recap. So, Elliott and I have graded each team's draft, just our overall draft, on a typical school A to F scale. Alright, and we'll kind of go by division. Elliott, what do you think? Should we get into it?
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah, for Matt, what I put Philadelphia Eagles an A because they did have a really good draft, and then they I think AJ Brown for sure is probably going to be picked up by the New England Patriots.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I have them at an A because I felt like they did a really good. They drafted a bunch of players and they picked up a running back. They picked a lot of good players.
Yeah, I'd agree. I went with a B for Philadelphia. I like that they went Mekhi Lemon in the first draft. I like the first round, and I like that they traded up to get him, especially being in Pittsburgh. I thought it was funny they kind of bigger broed their state neighbor. Yeah, I think overall it's a B. It was a good draft for sure, but not insane.
I put the Giants at a B plus because I felt like they had a great draft. I just felt like a B plus was good for them, and it's not like it's like positive, but like also really good as well.
Yeah. I have the New York Giants at a minus. I think overall, I really like the draft, but I would have preferred to maybe see Caleb Downs in the 10 instead of Malagoa, but I understand why they made the pick, so ultimately I have them at an A minus. All right. Who's our next team, Elliott?
Cowboys,
Cowboys. What do you have the Cowboys rated at?
A minus.
Okay, talk me through it.
Like you said on the Giants pick, I just felt like I was being like really generous to them by picking A minus versus giving them a B.
Yeah, I have the Cowboys at an A. I think this is one of the better draft performances we had this year. They were trading all over, which was really cool. They were getting all sorts of moves done. They got Caleb Downs at pick 11. I think he was really, really important. I think the Giants kind of missed out on him. And then they traded down from the 21 to the 23 to get Malachi Lawrence, who I think is a great edge. Overall, I think it was a solid draft for him. I really think it was a great draft. I think it was one of the better ones we saw this year.
And then we end the NFC East or something?
Yeah.
The NFC East was the Commanders.
The Commanders. What do you have the Commanders at?
B.
B. Okay. Talk me through it. Why'd you pick B for the Commanders?
I just felt like they had a great draft, but like it wasn't like as strong as other other teams probably got stronger in the draft for and we'll get into the Western Division and the West.
Yeah.
We'll get the AFC teams.
The AFC West will come, don't even worry. I thought this draft was like a B minus. I thought it was fine. I liked the Sonny Styles pick. They got their Bobby Wagner replacement. I do think there was better people available when they drafted him, though.
And they got a quarterback.
They got a quarterback in the 7th, which ultimately I don't think will matter.
And then we've got the New Orleans to the Bucks. To the New Orleans to the Saints.
Saints. How did you feel about this draft?
I feel like the Saints had a great draft.
Interesting. Tell me more.
They drafted a lot of players from, especially some players that are in New Orleans' backyard.
Fair. I was pretty meh on this draft. I didn't really love it, to be honest. I give it the same grade as Washington. Jordan Tyson was a good pick, and then past there, I just don't really think they took anybody of like a ton of note. But we'll see.
We'll see.
See how it all pans out for him.
And then Carolina gave a B, which was generous enough for Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina's draft, I was not a huge fan of. You gave it a B. I gave it a C plus, I believe. Just a little bit worse than the Saints in my opinion. I didn't love the Monroe Freeling pick. I thought there was better players available, and players that they even needed more when he was available. Yeah, I really can't think of anything that sticks out to me as great from this draft. We'll see. It could end up being a great draft, but as of right now,
Time will just tell us.
yeah, I'm pretty meh on it at the moment. All right, next.
Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, what do you have the Falcons at?
I gave them a generous B.
Okay. Tell me more. Why'd you give them a B?
I just feel like they drafted players that they wanted, but we'll just see as the season goes on for all the teams, and we'll just see where teams are at the middle point of the season next year or this coming year.
Yeah. I have them as, what did I have them as? What? I think I had them as B minus. I really like their first round pick. I think Avion Terrell is a really good cornerback, and also just drafting AJ Terrell's brother is a really kind of cool moment to get both dudes on the same team. And then I like the Zachariah Branch pick as well in the third round. I mean, for not having a lot of great picks, I think they did a pretty decent job. Overall, I'd say pretty solid. All right, what's our next team, Elliott? Oh, sorry, I went too far down.
The Bucks.
Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, tell me.
It's all the way at the end. All the way
Yeah. Talking through it. What do you think?
I gave them an A plus.
Okay. Yeah, I gave them an A minus. I really liked Ruben Bain in the first round. Great pick. I think they kind of got him for a steal. And then after that, I think they filled needs pretty nicely. Ted Hurst, I think they took a little too early, and that's what kept them from getting a straight A for me. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty solid draft.
Yeah. And
All right. Who's up next?
now we're going to the NFC West teams. For starting with Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
I gave them a not an A plus or A minus, just an A.
I give them, I believe, a B plus. I think they were drafting from a pretty tough spot, so it was kind of hard to give them a really good grade. I think I gave them just about as good of a grade as I could have, especially knowing that they were trying to trade out of the first round and couldn't get anyone to trade into the first round, and that's why they took Jadarian Pierce where they did, when they would have preferred to trade back. So I still think overall B plus. I think it was a solid draft.
And then the 49ers.
49ers. What do you think about the 49ers draft?
I gave them a solid B, or I feel like they strengthened a lot. They got good enough players to help them out for especially because they got running back. If let's say McCaffrey gets traded in the future, they've got solid players to step in, especially a rookie running back to hopefully replace McCaffrey in the future.
Yeah. I will say I didn't like this draft class. I think that they reached on quite a few players. So I gave it a C minus. Who do we have up next, Elliott?
We have the Rams. The Rams seem that, like we talked about Matthew Stafford and Ty Simpson was part of reach at their team. The Rams should have traded back, and then they got all the other players that they wanted.
Yeah. To me, I like the Max Clare pick. To me, this draft was overall a C. I just think they took Ty Simpson way too early, and it doesn't really seem like they're trying to win now to me, which is problematic for a team that claims they're trying to win now.
Yeah. And then the final team for the NFC West area is the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I give the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, a B minus.
I gave them an overall B.
Yeah, I think their draft was decent. I just think that they took Jeremiah Love a little too early. I just don't think they really needed Jeremiah Love because they're kind of in the midst of rebuilding. Running backs have short careers. I think they would have been better off taking Arvell Reese there, but it is what it is.
Offensive guard, quarterback, defensive side, wide receiver, linebacker, offensive tackle. That's like
All sorts.
solid B for me for Arizona.
All right, let's rapid fire through a few until we get to an interesting one again.
Detroit gave them a B, and then you just said, and then you just gave them a C.
I give them a C. I felt like they didn't really do much. They felt very unnotable in this draft. Green Bay. Okay, this seems like a notable one. Elliott, what do you have Green Bay at?
Did I say an A?
You said A plus. Talk me through that.
I feel like Green Bay strengthened a lot of their team because Aaron Rodgers is not with Green Bay anymore. He's like hopefully going to re-sign with Pittsburgh. So we'll see about where. But Green Bay, solid draft class for Green Bay.
I thought their draft class was okay, to be honest. It was a lot of defense, very much trying to rebuild that defense.
And a punt returner in a PK.
Yeah, nothing, honestly, that stuck out to me as like a good draft, to be honest. So
a lot of defense and no like offensive player.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, drafted a kicker in the later rounds. That's always fun. But I have him as a B. I thought it was fine.
I got Chicago at a B, and you said B plus.
Yeah, I said a B plus. I thought it was a pretty good draft, but their priorities seemed a little all over the place.
And then we gave Minnesota a B and B plus as well.
Yeah, and this one's a little controversial. A lot of people have Minnesota a little bit lower, so I'm kind of fanboying a bit here. I trust Brian Flores in their first round draft pick, taking D-line when people kind of said it's a bit of a reach. I think Caleb Banks could be really, really good. And then they also added Dominique Orange, which I think is great. I think that, honestly, I think that this is a pretty solid draft. I really liked a few of their picks. I really liked Jake Golday. I just would have preferred to see a safety in the first round, maybe, instead of as late as that happened.
And then Pittsburgh, I gave them a B, and you said B+.
Yeah, I mean, they got blindsided for the receiver that they wanted in the first round. They were on the phone with Mekhi Lemon when the Eagles traded up and drafted him while they were on the phone with him. Not a great look. Not a great look for your home crowd. I thought it was meh.
And then I gave Cleveland a solid A, and you said A- for Cleveland.
Yeah, I actually really liked Cleveland's draft. Spencer Fano was good, fit a need, and they traded back for free, right? Because they were always thinking Spencer Fano. So they got the guy that they wanted, and they traded back, got a couple extra picks with him. I really like Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston in the first and second round. I'm pretty high on both of those guys. Honestly, I might move this to an A. Like, they kind of cooked in this draft, in my opinion. I think Boston's a great pick. I think Concepcion is a great pick. And then I think that late in the second round, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, EMW out of Toledo, he was projected to go in the first round. So getting him late in the second, I think, was great value. I'm actually really, surprisingly happy with the Browns draft. We'll see how it actually ends up playing out.
And then we gave Baltimore B and C+.
Yeah. Baltimore, I was just underwhelmed by them after the first round. I think Olai Vega out of Penn State was a great pick in the first round. I think he was what they need, seeing as they just lost Linderbaum. But
to the Chargers.
After that, their draft was a little underwhelming to me, even though they had so many picks.
Then we're on the Cincinnati.
The Bengals, which you gave A+,
and you said B.
Yeah, I said B. I thought this was a good draft, but it didn't seem especially special to me. What was your thinking behind the A+ there?
It was a good enough draft class for the Bengals, since they lost Trey Hendrickson and yeah.
I think it was a solid draft. I think it was fine. All right, and that brings us on to our next team.
Buffalo,
you had as B+. I think it's B-. I think they did fine. They traded out of the first round. They did a bunch of trading around. I think they did fine. I think they bolstered their secondary and they bolstered their defense pretty nicely. But I would
special teams for the punter.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more help for Josh Allen. And instead they got a wide receiver that comps a lot to a wide receiver they already have. So I just think it could have been a bit better. B-.
And then it's Miami.
For
the Dolphins.
And what did you give the Dolphins? What did you give the Dolphins grade-wise, Elliott?
Grade-wise?
Yeah. I remember I gave them an A, I believe. Yep. I gave the Dolphins an A.
I gave them a C, which was generous enough.
I'd agree.
Which was generous enough. It was an okay, but not as solid, and not a. It was a middle tier draft.
I thought it was pretty good. I feel like they got a lot of good value, to be honest. I was relatively happy.
And they went all over.
They did go all over.
And then New England Patriots, I gave them a B and you gave them a C.
I gave them a C. I was fine with the pick. Offensive line help is cool. Other than that, it's just kind of fine. It's chill.
Yeah,
Chill draft, but nothing super special.
chill from the AFC East.
Yeah.
And then the New York Jets. C and then an A.
Yeah, I have the Jets as an A. I think the Jets drafted really well, actually, this year. We'll see how that ends up playing out, but I thought they had a good draft, to be honest.
You're on Las Vegas right now. You're supposed to be on the Jets.
I'm on the Jets.
Yeah.
I think taking David Bailey, third or second overall was pretty great. I think, that's good. They need that. It's good for them. I really like Kenyon Sadiq in the 16th and Omar Cooper Jr. in the 30th. I think they had a really good first round. And then I think D'Angelo Ponce is a nice add to the secondary in the second. All right.
And then Houston Texans.
Houston Texans, we both agree. B.
But B,
Yeah, I thought they were fine.
they were fine.
I thought they were okay. Indiana, you went
Solid A, where you got a B minus.
on B minus. I honestly was not that impressed by Indiana's draft.
And then we got the Jaguars, right?
They did fun.
And then we got the Jaguars, right next to the Colts.
Yeah, the Jaguars.
C minus and a D.
I did not like this draft at all. They just constantly reached. They were taking players, and I heard comments that their front office was like, "Oh, we got all the guys that we had written down. We slotted this draft, and we got what was 6 out of the 7 guys we want, or 10 out of the 11 guys we want." And in my opinion, the only reason they got that many guys is because they were drafting dudes 2 or 3 rounds before any other NFL team wanted them. The one good pick that I think they got was Emmanuel Pragnon. I think he was actually a really good offensive guard, and he slipped pretty far. So I think they did great there. Other than that, I really disliked almost all of their picks. They took 2 tight ends. Yeah, they were just
2 wide receivers.
Yeah, they were just taking people that nobody wanted. They were like, "Ooh, nobody wanted these players." Yes, nobody wanted them. I think that's the whole thing. So, yeah, really didn't love this draft for them. I think it was pretty weird. We'll see. Maybe they're geniuses though.
And then we got Tennessee before we get the West.
Yep. Tennessee. What do you have Tennessee at?
A plus, and you got a B plus.
At a B plus. I think they had a good draft. I didn't think it was insanely good though, but I thought it was solid. I think it'll be good help for Cam Ward, and I think they certainly made that wide receiver room better, and I'm excited to see how they can play this next year.
Right now we got the other LA team, the Chargers.
The Chargers. What did you think of the LA Chargers draft, Elliott?
I gave them a solid B, even though that you gave them A minus.
Yeah, I gave them an A minus. I like Hakeem Mesidor. I like Jake Slaughter in the second. Overall, I thought it was a solid draft for the picks that they had.
Yeah.
It brings us on to one of our bigger disagreements.
The Las Vegas Raiders, even though the Raiders last year were the worst team on record because Kansas City was also worried of what got they had 6 and 11, whereas Vegas got 3 and 14 on the season.
Yeah, so talk me through why you gave this a C minus.
It was okay. I feel like Vegas is getting tougher. Is going to be tough next year, but they'll still be they'll still try to challenge the Broncos, the Chiefs, Chargers for like the top spot of the for the number one seed in the AFC but like the overall standings, like the number one, like the where teams want to be to like in Las Vegas was not like quite ready to like be like the team to like get to the next level of trying to be in like the playoffs or be in the Super Bowl for a long time. Whereas the Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos are just teams that have. I just feel like I gave them a solid C- because it was like I felt like outside of Fernando Mendoza was a great pick, a great number one pick, first overall pick, even though that there were rumors out there that Las Vegas was going to trade the number one pick, first pick of draft for two other teams. There was rumors.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I can't agree with that. I mean, they got their franchise guy. They got a top 20 talent in the 4th round. I think they had one of the best drafts that we've seen this year. If we're just talking about the draft, I don't think they're going to necessarily be a playoff team, but I do think that they had a good draft this year.
Yeah, time will tell about like when the season unfolds and if Las Vegas is still like the bottom of the West Division for the AFC West Division, and then both of us agreed. We gave Casey a solid A.
Kansas City an A. Yeah, I honestly did like what they did. They were kind of forced into trading up for Mansour Delane in the 1st round because they really need cornerback help. But I still think he was a solid pick. I still think he was good. I think it was a solid A. I think they hit on everything that they wanted to hit on. I don't think they could have done a ton much better, to be honest.
Yeah, but they got help everywhere.
Yeah, they got help everywhere. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with them.
Even though that they got another running back.
Yeah.
Even though that they should have gotten a tight end replacement. Or they got a tight end replacement, but like very late in the 7th.
Yeah. I think tight end is also a need they could address next year since Travis Kelce is playing one more year. You know?
Yeah, but
I'd give him a solid A. That brings us to our last team.
I give them an A+ because Denver doesn't get the respect.
Okay. Which picks do you think made it like worthy of an A+?
Like, I feel like Jonah Coleman was a great pick at running back, and also the two the last picks of that Denver did was like great, especially Bentley and Red Murdoch was like a great like. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't like the linebacker room is always needs help too.
Yeah.
Every single place needs help, especially linebacker, tight end, and safety. Great. It was a great draft class.
I personally have this draft as a C+. I thought it was okay, and kind of just that. I don't think they really got any like crazy good value that was unexpected late in the draft. Maybe Justin Jolie really late. Back in like the end of the 5th round was pretty good. Other than that, I really just don't think they did too much of note.
But next year's draft will Denver's got all of their picks, still got all of their 27 picks.
Yeah, I think
plus maybe a couple of compensatories like John Franklin Myers and PJ Locke might get compensatory picks.
Yeah, I think it'll be more interesting for the Broncos next year. I just don't think they could really get any big impact players because of how late they were drafting. Like, they didn't draft until the top of the 3rd round. So, for that reason, I have them at like a C. But I think they did a good job getting depth.
And like long-term players that could help like long-term, like
possibly
as like depth pieces.
Yeah, I think they'll be depth pieces. I think some of these guys will be great practice squad guys.
And like starting, and we got Caleb Lohner are gonna be back on the practice squad. I think Bailey might. I could see him on the 53 or on the practice squad with Lohner.
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with this draft, but that's kind of about it. I wasn't.
Last year's draft was like great, but like Lohner and Bentley, 2 players from Utah drafted by the Broncos. We've got a lot of Utah players and Denver Broncos players.
That kind of makes sense. I can see why.
Like Garrett Bowles went to college in Utah, and like Casey, I could see back up as like a Ben Powers replacement. In like 27.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But like Mike McGlinchey staying on, like a lot. Like we'll have players, but some players are going to be restricted free agents or
I think it'll be interesting.
So next free agency will be interesting for the Broncos if Ben Powers signs with another team and yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be interesting for sure.
So let's spin the wheel for
our last 2 activities. Looks like our second to last today is going to be Walt's World. All right, let's get into some trivia.
Where did the film 101 Dalmatians take place? This was the one part of the question from the last time.
Yeah.
And it was like...
It was London, right?
Yes, you got that answer. When was the original 101 Dalmatians released?
Can I guess 1954?
No. It was way later. It was in the early 60s.
Oh, so I wasn't that far off at all. Yeah, I'm gonna guess 1962.
You were off by a year.
1963.
61. It was...
Yeah, the wrong way on this.
What's the name of a group of girls Dot belonged to in the film A Bug's Life? So this is like 98 for these next 2 questions.
Where's the name?
It's the name of a fruit that we eat every day.
Do we eat every day?
Or...
What color is the fruit?
Blue.
Were they the blueberries?
Yes. Which actor voiced Hopper, the head of grasshoppers in the movie A Bug's Life?
Alright, I'll need a hint on this one. I just don't know any actors. Do you know any other movies they've been in?
Kevin Spacey. Kevin. That's the actor.
Dang it. Kevin Spacey, you said?
Yes.
Darn.
Which Disney character makes a cameo on Max's telephone when he wakes up late for school in a Goofy movie?
Can I guess Mickey Mouse?
Yes.
Yes. That makes sense. Alright.
What is the name of the girl Max was in love with in the Goofy movie? And starts with an R. And ends with an E.
Can I guess Rosie?
No.
You'll have to tell me.
Roxanne. What does the rabbit continue to repeat throughout the movie Alice in Wonderland?
I have no idea.
I'm late for a very important date. Where does Finding Nemo take place?
Can I guess the ocean?
It's like the Great Barrier Reef or something.
Oh.
Out Queensland, Australia.
Okay. Great Barrier Reef. That makes sense.
So you got like 2.
I think did I get more than 2? 1, 2, 3.
Maybe 4.
3, maybe 4, depending on how you quantify my last answer. Alright. Should we get into our last segment for the day?
Yes.
We're gonna look at some rankings for how difficult strength of schedules are gonna be. So the hardest strength of schedule for 2026-27 season is the Chicago Bears, followed by the Dolphins, which poor Dolphins, and the Cardinals, which just seems cruel. And then it's the Packers, then the Chiefs, then the Patriots at number 6. Then it'll be the Raiders, the Buffalo Bills, the LA Chargers, the Panthers, the Vikings at 11, the Jets, the Rams, the Seahawks, and then the Broncos got pretty lucky. They only have the 15th hardest schedule. Could have been a lot worse. And then the Commanders, Giants, 49ers at 18, the Steelers, the Cowboys at 20, the Bucks at 21, the Jaguars, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Titans, the Texans at 26, the Detroit Lions at 27, and then our 5 easiest schedules from hardest to easiest are the Atlanta Falcons, the 5th easiest schedule, the Colts with the 4th easiest schedule, the Bengals with the 3rd easiest schedule, and then the Saints with the 2nd, and the Browns with the easiest schedule.
As dead last.
What do you think about some of those strengths of schedules?
Browns got like the easiest pick of the middle of the pile, the middle of the rankings.
Yeah.
At the 15th. 15th overall of 15th as their strength of schedule, because we've got home to the Chargers, home to the Chiefs, home to the Raiders, home to the Bills, the Dolphins.
Let's see, the home games, you have your divisional rivals, and then the Bills, that's a tough one. The Dolphins, that's going to be an easy one, a cakewalk. And then you have the Rams and the Seahawks, which is tough.
And then the Jags. Come on.
Yeah.
Why do we always end up with the Jags of all teams?
That's a kind of tough home schedule for sure. Then the away schedule, you have your divisionals again. The Patriots, which could be tough. The Jets, which will be an easy game. The Cardinals will be a really easy game. The 49ers should be a bit tough. The Panthers, we'll see. And the Steelers also is kind of like undetermined.
Undetermined about Aaron Rodgers if he ends up playing for the Steelers.
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, that's the easiest game ever. But yeah.
And we'll find out. We'll find out in like 2 weeks when the schedule releases.
Yeah.
on the week of the 11th of May. The 11th through the 14th.
Let's see. So, my Minnesota Vikings have the Bears, Packers, and Lions both home and away, the divisionals. Then they have the Falcons at home, the Panthers at home, the Bills at home, the Dolphins at home, the Commanders at home, and the Colts at home. So honestly, not too hard. Then they're away. They have the Saints, the Bucks, the Jets, the Patriots, and the 49ers. I'm honestly not unhappy
And
with that
Bears.
schedule.
Bears away.
Yeah, because that's one of their division rivals. So they play them home and away. Same with the Packers and the Lions.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, not a bad schedule for the Vikings. Let's see the Bears' schedule. Which is allegedly the hardest. Let's see though. At home, they have the Lions, Packers, and Vikings, and those will also all be on the away.
Bucks.
Saints,
Eagles. Jags. Jets. Patriots. Lions. Packers. Vikings. Bills. Dolphins. Falcons. Panthers, and then the Seahawks to round up the way. So
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting. And I bet the Seahawks will play host to the Bears probably on that Wednesday opener. That's my best guess.
The Bears versus the Seahawks.
If it's
The
the
away opener.
because it would be the home opener for the Seahawks.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. Let's see. Here we go. I think the Dolphins' schedule looks pretty tough. I want to see what the Dolphins have. The Dolphins seems like they have a really tough schedule.
Bills, Patriots, Jets,
Jets are easy, so they get to play the Jets.
Kansas City Chiefs,
That's tough.
Chargers,
That's tough.
Bears,
Tough.
Lions,
Tough.
Bengals,
Probably going to be tough this year.
Bills, Patriots, Jets, Vegas Raiders,
Could be tough this year.
Vikings,
I hope.
Packers, Colts, Broncos, 49ers.
Brutal. If the Jets didn't also suck, I'd say that there's a chance the Dolphins go 0-17 next year.
So like the AFC East, like the divisions, AFC East teams are gonna give Miami a hard time.
Yeah, I do think that Miami's going to have a really tough season this next year.
Yeah.
Alright.
Thank y'all for watching and tuning in to this week's episode. Hopefully you'll tune in next week because I think we have a special guest coming. So you better tune in for next week's episode to find out who the guest is.
That'll be really cool.
And your host, Elliott Maxwell, signing out of episode 29. Episode 30 next week. Back to